You've been at that role that you've selected or been part of selecting a CRM system for implementation. And always one of the things that is curious for me is what were the primary reasons or business drivers then behind choosing the CRM system?
Well, I think if we're honest, when we talk about the data lab, it was very much, it was there. Somebody had gone, we need a CRM system. We could get an educational license for Salesforce, and so they got an educational license for Salesforce. So you had, as I said, you had a piece of technology lying around, as I said. What I realized once we started thinking about what is this thing and what does it do, is actually you can make this thing do all sorts of interesting things. And you can actually go from having a CRM, which the business team used, to something that would support the business team, the HR team, the contracts team, the project managers, and they would support everybody across the organization to deliver a set of shared goals. And you could actually take, Salesforce, and you could massage it, tweak it, modify it, build processes in it that would actually allow us to do things at scale. Because the key thing we had with the data lab is most people don't realize actually, for most of the first 5 years, it was a small team of about 20 people. And people would go, how do you manage to do all this stuff with such a small team? And it's like, well, it's because a lot of it was because you use Salesforce. That was the underlying platform that tied everything together. This was the thing that enabled teams to work together. This was the bit where everyone knew where we were, because you could just look at Salesforce and that would tell you, this is the stuff that's been approved. These are the opportunities that are in the pipeline. These are the things the project managers are working on. This is the thing the contract manager is pulling a hair out over. It's all in Salesforce and it's all open and people can look at it. Everyone can understand what's going on and everyone can collaborate. And so it was the ability to take this tool and then develop it, embed our processes in it, and then use it to deliver impact at scale. And I think if we weren't able to do that with Salesforce, we would have had to have a real think about how we were going to work. But with Salesforce, we were able to iterate really quickly, and we were able to solve problems. And that, for many people, that was the thing that actually showed the value. Because one of the first challenges we had at the data lab was we funded innovation projects between the private sector and academia. We've been doing that for about 6 months, and then someone from the Scottish government said, oh, by the way, the money you're handing out is state aid. And you now have a whole set of other things you need to do to make sure everything you do is compliant. And I remember looking at that and thinking, actually, that's easy. Because I can just go into Salesforce, I can add a couple of different options for the opportunities, saying, what type of thing were they trying to do? How much funding do we get from the private sector, from the government, from the university? Roll all these things together. Salesforce does the math and says, yeah, that's compliant. No, that's not compliant. Job done. So for us, it was one of those things you could take this quite fundamental change and you could actually roll out something within a couple of days that allowed us to just continue, because we could do what we had to do and we could keep working. And all the other innovation centers were just like, you did what? And it was like, oh, this is all we had to do, because we had the tools. It's a flexible tool. We can iterate and we can update it to do different things as our needs and changes require. And, people kind of went, okay, I'll buy into this. Because rather than just being this platform that Dave says we have to use, I now see how this solves problems. And the reality is, if you're in a small team with lots of work to do, anything that solves problems is good. And then you can iterate through Salesforce in many different ways to solve many different problems. And that's kind of what we spent the next 4 years doing, as we started doing different things and as we started to scale and so on and so on. And it was the really crucial thing was having a platform that could grow with us was kind of really, really key. So